You ask me questions on Instagram all the time about nutrition and weight loss, so I decided to start this series on YouTube called Ask Nutrishmish. So today I'm going to answer one of the most popular questions that I get, which is how often should I weigh myself? But if you have another question that you want me to answer, make sure that you go on my Instagram, at Mish of Nutrishmish, it's right over here. Check that out, shoot me a DM, and let me know what your question is, and I might answer yours in the next episode. So Nutrishmish has been around for over 10 years, and we've helped over 10,000 people lose weight and keep it off. So you can imagine we've weighed a lot of people. So one of the things that people always ask is how often should I weigh myself? But before we get into the answer, I want you to understand a little bit more about how weight loss works. So the first thing that you want to understand is you want to understand a little bit about weight before we get to the answer. So weight in and of itself, believe it or not, it's not a problem. Weight is actually a symptom of a problem. And one of the biggest issues that we have is we start to micromanage a symptom instead of dealing with the underlying problem. So here's a good way to think about it, right? If you picture a weed, just picture weight as the tippy top of the flower there, right? But then you have the roots. What a lot of people do is they just focus on weight. They just try to chase the number. They just try to chase the symptoms. So what they do is they just kind of clip the top off of that weed, just clip the flower off, but the roots are still there. So what happens is the flower grows back. Weight is not a problem in and of itself. It's a symptom, just like high blood pressure, just like cholesterol, just like your blood sugar. There's a million symptoms that are associated with your eating habits, and weight is just one of them. The problem is that when you go to the doctor, right, the doctor doesn't tell you, hey, why don't you fix your eating habits? Your doctor says, hey, lose weight. So we all try to chase a number, right? Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to get to the root of the problem, be it your relationship with food, be it how you prepare your meals, be it if you know how to cook or not, whatever it is. Focus on those things, and then when those things start to improve, then you'll start to see the number be a reflection of that improvement. A really good example is grades in school. The goal in school isn't necessarily maybe to get a good grade in school. The goal is to understand the information. And if you understand the information, that will be reflected in your grade. So if somebody gets a C, what that maybe means is they didn't really understand the information so well. There are a bunch of ways to get an A that have nothing to do with how well you know the information, right? You can cheat to get the A, you can guess the answers, right? That would be something similar to like dieting, where you're just trying to like chase the number just to see the number. But what you want to do is you want to really study, and if you learn the information and you know it, then you're almost guaranteed to get the A. And when you fix the root of the problem, you fix your eating habits, then you're almost guaranteed to see the weight loss go down. So when we're looking at weight, I really want you to think of it more as a symptom and less of a problem in and of itself. And if you're making the right changes, you're going to see that symptom get better, just like you might see your cholesterol or your blood work or whatever get better as well. So now that you understand that weight's a symptom, here is why you maybe shouldn't weigh yourself every single day. And I'm going to get into a second as how often you should weigh yourself. Weight is not just made up of body fat, right? Weight is made up of water, it's made up of muscle, it's made up of your bones, your organs, your clothes, whatever food you ate that day. It's all part of your weight. When you get on the scale can't differentiate how much of that weight is water, muscle, bone, whatever. It's just a culmination of whatever mass is on the scale. So let's just say, for example, I get on the scale and I'm wearing heavier clothing. Well, obviously the scale is going to be a little bit higher than if I'm wearing lighter clothing. Let's talk about this in terms of money, right? Let's say, for example, you have 5 bills, right? And I have 100 bills. Would you want to be me or you? Probably me, because I have 100 bills, right? But now let's say we put a value to those bills, right? Let's say your bills are worth $100 and my bills are only worth $1. Once you put a value to it, that changes everything. So weight is not just made up of fat, it's made up of bone, organ, muscle, water, a lot of different things. If you're just losing water weight on the scale, we don't really care about that so much, right? We want body fat. That's what you're looking at when you're trying to change your eating habits and see the weight go down. But there are certain parts of your weight that fluctuate, and there are certain parts of your weight that don't. Now, fat does not fluctuate. Muscle does not fluctuate. Bone doesn't fluctuate. Water, though, fluctuates day to day. So if you are the kind of person that's gotten on the scale over and over and over again, like every single day, and you get on the scale in this corner and that corner, before breakfast, after breakfast, like scale on the crack, slightly not on the crack. If you're a person that's weighing yourself all the time, what's going to happen is you're going to see different numbers pretty much every single time that you weigh yourself. And that's not because you're getting heavier or not. That's just because you're looking at water fluctuations. So if you're weighing yourself every single day, it's sort of like watching the stock market hour by hour. You're missing the overall trends and you're getting hung up in the little minor fluctuations, but the overall trends are what you really want to look at. Now, body fat loss. Body fat takes about 6 to 8 days to see. So even if you got on the scale tomorrow and you saw that you were down 2 pounds, you didn't really lose 2 pounds. You're actually just looking probably at a water fluctuation. But what happens when you see that, right? Let's say you're eating so well, you're making all these really great changes, and you get on the scale, and what happens? Let's say it doesn't go down. Let's even maybe say it goes up. What you're going to say is you're going to be like, well, why should I bother eating healthy, right? Which is totally out of line with trying to really get to the root of the problem and fix the symptom. The problem is we just haven't given it enough time. But sometimes when you see that number messes with your head, and then it totally derails all the good work that you're doing. So my suggestion is when you're weighing yourself, only weigh yourself once a week. Try to make it around the same time every week, keeping in mind that it does take around 6 to 8 days to see actual body fat loss. Again, thinking about weight as a symptom and not a problem. Let's say you're making all the right changes, you weigh yourself only once a week, right? And let's say you're like, oh my gosh, the scale didn't go down. My first suggestion is maybe give it an extra day, because I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients and they come in once a week and I see them and I'm looking at their food journal and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything you did was perfect. You did everything really well this week. But for some reason in that moment, it's not reflected on the scale. What I will tell them is I'll tell them, you know what, give it an extra day, because your body doesn't know what 7 days is, right? 7 days is kind of a made up construct. Sometimes it takes 6, sometimes it takes 8. And 9 times out of 10, the next day I'll get a text message from them saying like, okay, now I see it come down. So make sure that you're giving it a little bit more time. If that still doesn't do anything, if the weight's still staying the same, then what's probably happening is, again, thinking about weight as a symptom, the changes that you made might not have been the right changes or enough of a change to see a result. So if I'm really studying for that test and I think I got it, but I still get a C, that doesn't tell me that I should stop studying. All that tells me is, okay, maybe I need to study something different. Maybe I didn't quite understand the information. With weight, you want to think of it like, okay, maybe I didn't solve for the right problem, or maybe the changes I made weren't enough, or maybe it's something that I'm not realizing. So that's when you might want to seek out the help of a professional, like us at Nutrishmish or somebody else. Now, in terms of water fluctuations, right, this is really important. Have you ever gone out to dinner and you get on the scale the next day and all of a sudden you gained like 3 or 4 pounds, and you might even think to yourself like, oh my gosh, like I can't even go out to dinner and enjoy one meal without gaining 3 or 4 pounds. Remember, fat doesn't fluctuate, but water does. Salt's a preservative, right? So all restaurants will have at least a day's worth of sodium in every single meal. Even if you ask for no salt, it's already in there. So what happens a lot of the time is you will go out to eat, you get on the scale the next day, which I highly don't recommend, but let's just say you're like a masochist and you want to do that to yourself. The scale will be up 3 or 4 pounds just because of that water retention. Other things that would create water retention would be hormonal. So like ladies, if it's that time of the month, alcohol is a diuretic, it dehydrates you, and then your body retains water. Or if you're not drinking enough water, those are the 4 things that would make water weight fluctuate. So my suggestion is when you get on the scale, before you do, ask yourself, did any of those 4 things happen? Did I eat a lot of sodium yesterday, or did I eat out last night or yesterday at any point? Am I not maybe drinking enough water where my body might retain it? We'll get into why that happens in another episode. Is there any kind of like hormonal fluctuation that might be causing me to retain water? Or did I drink alcohol within the past 24 hours? If any of those things happened, if you do get on the scale, it'll be slightly elevated for where it probably should be. And the best thing to do for that actually is to drink more water just to flush yourself out. So now that you understand a little bit more how weight loss works, you know exactly how often you should be weighing yourself and what you might be looking at when you are weighing yourself and seeing those fluctuations. Check out my next video where I'm gonna be addressing a really popular question that I get, which is what time of day should I actually stop eating?